Shalom to all of you, fellow Jews. I've been asked to make this video about an extremely, vitally important subject, which is not new to any of us, but we have a novel approach which has not been implemented until now, and hopefully this will bring it closer to implementation. Let me begin with a little bit of background. About a year and a half ago, in Israel, in the city, this town of Meron, on Lag BaOmer, 45 Jewish wonderful children, men of all kinds, religious and non-religious, passed away because of overcrowding at that occasion, middle of the night at the kever of Shimon ben Yochai. More recently, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, 19 people have died in road accidents of various kinds here in Israel. And these are incidences which make us want to understand, is there any pattern here? Is there anything that can be done to remedy this problem? We have a well-known history of trying to make achdus, trying to make unity. When we were successful in making unity, many, many great things happened to the Jewish people. And the unity itself provides a protective umbrella over the Jewish people and prevents all kinds of tragedies and calamities from happening. The examples given by Chazal are that of the time of Achav, the king Achav, who was unfortunately an idol worshiper, and there was tremendous idolatry during his times in Israel. Nevertheless, when they went to war against nations, they all came back alive and unhurt. As opposed to the time of David HaMelech, where there were great tzaddikim, there was no idolatry, not to the degree that there was at the time of Achav. There may have been here and there, but nothing compared to what there was in Achav's times, where it was almost national. And in David HaMelech's time, there were many, many losses on the battlefield. And Chazal analyzed, why is it so that when you had a government of idolatry, like Achav, people all came back whole and healthy, and where in David HaMelech's time, it was just the opposite. The answer was, in Achav's times, people had a lot of respect for each other. There was no Lashon Hara. There was an achdus, a unity among them, which prevents all kinds of negativity from attacking the Jewish people. Unfortunately, in David HaMelech's time, as great as a tzaddik he was, and as great as the influence he had, that did not apply. There was tremendous amount of ego and self-interest, which was very, very rampant in David HaMelech's time. There was no achdus. And therefore, when there's no achdus, the Jewish people are susceptible to all kinds of tragedies. Tragedy in Meron, I was approached by many, many educators, experienced educators, who had told me that had our work, the books that we produce, the educational books that we produce on Derech Eretz, on Midos Tovos, had been in all the schools, many, many tragedies could have been prevented there in Meron. People would have been more tolerant, not pushing and not crowding and waiting, even though it was in the middle of the night and nobody can understand why such a thing should happen to such a degree. Things been a shamayim, it's not for us to understand, but we have to try what's humanly possible to improve the situation. And they said that our share in preparing the people was lacking. There wasn't enough proper education in the schools so that people should know how to behave when you have a crowded situation, when you have in the middle of the night we cannot see well, and so on and so forth. So the question is, why is this so? Why are our books not in all the schools? The answer is because there is a philosophy which is now rampant in the entire world, and unfortunately it has creeped into Israel as well for a number of decades. And that philosophy is, what's in it for me? The me society, as you I'm sure have already heard. Everyone is interested in their own interests, their own agendas, and as long as you have that, consciously or subconsciously, you can never have true unity. Besides that motive of what's in it for me, you have the support of the democratic process, which says everyone is created equally and everybody has an equal say. And therefore, if you try to introduce new ideas, ideologies and ways to correct the situation, there's always somebody who's going to say, well, I don't have time to teach those moral, I would say, lessons. I'm overburdened as it is with the curriculums that we have. I'm not meeting the deadlines and so on and so forth, and we cannot do it. Therefore, I'm not interested in doing it. Let's just go on. And the schools are unable to overcome this because of the democratic process. So principals who have spoken to me have said they are powerless, even though they're supposed to be making the decisions about curriculum and so on and so forth. Nevertheless, because of the atmosphere in the country, they are powerless to make the changes. Now, what happens as a result of this? Everything is affected. Politics, certainly. Economics, family life, marriages, and even the educational system are all affected by that one little principle, that motivation of what's in it for me. As long as that is prevalent, even in the subconscious or subconscious or subconscious, we can never have true achdus, never have true unity. The question is, what do we do about this? Is there a way out of it? How do we accomplish this? I've been in Israel for approximately 50 years, and I've heard constantly rabbis, lecturers of all kinds speaking about the importance of unity, but somehow it has never taken hold, and we don't have unity. In the Knesset today, we have who knows how many parties. Everyone's out for their own agenda. Is there anyone in the society today, in the world today, who has enough clout to make that change, to change the thinking process of the way people operate? This is a problem. Changing attitude, thinking processes is a very, very deep thing, something which is internalized over a long period of time and becomes the way of life. How are you going to change the thinking process? The answer is there is a way. I've spoken to many experts, many influential people in broadcasting, and they said the idea is an excellent idea. It can be done, and it therefore must be done. The idea is very simple. I'll give you an example. About 20 years ago, there was a Jew in France who was unhappy with the religious level of the society in Israel. He had lots of money and he decided he's going to make a change. He paid 11 radio stations in the country that covered the entire country to say 3 words every hour, every 2 hours, all week long. I remember it. My wife remembers it. I've spoken to others who remember it. The 3 words were, Tehillim b'shvil haneshama. Tehillim for the soul. 3 words. But they were said over and over and over, day in, day out. And after a while, it worked. People sitting in parks were saying Tehillim. People waiting for the buses were saying Tehillim. It appears and appeals to everyone. There's nothing that you can lose by it. It's good for the soul. And that's what they're hearing. It's good for the soul. Why not say some Tehillim in your spare time? Well, that gentleman, unfortunately, after a few months, lost his money in real estate and could not keep up the payments to the radio stations. So the program stopped. But after this tragedy in Meron, I remembered, I got this idea sent to me from heaven, from Hashem. Why cannot we do the same thing today and use some kind of a slogan to bring about thinking about other people, not only about the self, at least not to harm other people. That's the first thing. We all know the story of Hillel, one of the great presidents of the earlier generations of Israel, the Nasi, who was asked by a convert, I want to learn all about Judaism, I want to learn about the entire Torah on one foot, meaning to say, give it to me in a capsule. What is the rule? Give it to me. Hillel said, I'll tell you one rule. This is the major theme. Everything else is just a commentary on this. That is, what's hateful to you, do not do to others. Mashasanu alecha al taseh lechavercha. Everything else fits into that, it's connected to it. That is the major principle. Can we not get this slogan onto the radio, onto all the social media, onto TV? Day in, day out. What's hateful to you, don't do to others. You can add something, give them a smile as well. Short, to the point, and so powerful. Because once a person thinks about his own agenda, other people are going to get hurt in the way. But if you have this in your mind, and it's clear in your mind, no matter what you want to do, no matter how far you want to go, no matter what progress you want to make, it can never be at the expense of anybody else. It's not talking about competition. Competition is, of course, acceptable. But not if it's going to hurt somebody and harm them, then no. So the idea is very simple. As I said, I've spoken to experts in marketing, in advertising, in broadcasting. They said that it can be done. And if it can be done, it must be done. We have already spoken about pricing. We have everything set up. All the experts are set up. All we have to do is bring in the money to pay the radio stations, play with the social media, Facebook and all of the rest. It's not that expensive considering all the millions of dollars that are available and spent on so many less important things. When we have achdus, we don't have car accidents. When we have unity, there's much more peace in society, less argumentation, less divorce. Everything works better when there's unity. We have made up slogans in Hebrew and posters. Here's an example of one for bumper stickers on cars. The quote that I said before, Mashasanu elecha al taseh lechavercha, v'gam chayei elav. Give him a smile too. We made larger ones as well, and we are sending these all over the country. They are being put up throughout the cities in Israel, but it's not enough. It's not going to do the job. We have to have the media behind us. If the media backs it, we're hoping that the government itself will eventually join the program and the campaign to change the entire society to be more thoughtful about other people as a basic fundamental of the way society has to work. It has to be a massive campaign, and it has to be continuous. It's not going to happen in a week or a month or even a half a year. To get it solidly absorbed into the society, it has to be done for a year or two. Remember, we're trying to heal a sickness that has been present for decades. It's going to take time, but we have to have patience and tolerance and keep it up. It must work. It's the most simple educational principle. If you want to learn something, if you want to be an expert at something, there's nothing like review over and over and over again. Just think about actors, how many times they must go over scripts so they can perform and make a movie. They have to know it by heart over and over and over again for something which is just going to be temporary, and in a couple of months they won't be remembered at all. We're trying to save lives. We're trying to promote a good, contented life in Israel. There's no reason why we can't do this. All the media will be happy to get the payments to make such a program. Just have to pay them. I want to leave you my details for contact. My name is Naftali Weinberg. My telephone number in Israel is office number 02-567-1812. I repeat, 02-567-1812. Cell phone number and WhatsApp 0522-677-812. 0522-677-812. Email Ahav Emet, AHAVEMET at 012.net.il. People of Israel, fellow Jews, it's in our hands. Nobody else can do it. There are no individuals, no groups who are powerful to change the thinking processes of our own people. Only we can do it. And it's doable. I beg you to save the lives of our own people, to be happy. Let's do it together. Please call me. Let's get together and join. And we have Achdus in this program, in this campaign. Be'ezrat Hashem, we will be very, very successful. Thank you all.